Hello, homebodies, and welcome to Good to Be Home. I'm your host, Paola, and this is the podcast where we cozy up and talk about all the things that life throws at us. Today's episode is all about navigating adulthood and what they didn't teach us. So cozy up and let's have a conversation. If you're an older millennial, a child of immigrants, and especially if you were that introverted kid on the sidelines just watching life happen, then you're in the right place. We were told to work hard, get good grades, and to be good. But no one told us what to do when we got an email saying, looking forward to our conversation at 3 p.m. And we're like, what conversation? I didn't prepare for this. My first real world smack in the face. I think back to my early 20s. So in early adulthood, I thought everything was a scam. You asked me and I was like, yeah, time is a social construct. And you can ask my best friend. I really did believe that. And I really did say that. But for me, one of the biggest smacks in the face was paying bills, not the concept. I mean, we all knew that bills were a thing, but the actual mechanics of it, no one told me I had to set up auto pay or that late fees exist just to humble you. And let's not even talk about budgeting, because my first attempt at a budget was basically rent, check. Groceries, check. Coffee and takeout, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about how it affects my budget and how it is shameful to me that I got so much takeout after having a refrigerator full of groceries. As a fellow homebody, I'm sure you understand cooking can be a hassle. Now, I do have an Excel sheet like a big girl, but even then, do I follow it? Like, who taught me financial literacy and where do I sign up so I can learn about it? And speaking of learning and being competent, let's talk about imposter syndrome. I have the definition right in front of me, and it's described as that feeling of persistent inadequacy, despite evidence of your accomplishments, where you believe you are not qualified for your achievements and fear being exposed as a fraud. According to Google, this can lead to anxiety, self-doubt, and a sense of unworthiness. Now, something I want to touch up on is that for children of immigrants, this is a whole other level. You know, we were raised on stories of sacrifice. I worked 3 jobs so you could be here. You know, I'm sure you've heard that before. And now we're over here sitting on our laptops Googling how to sound confident in an email. We're so used to the pressure, the pressure to excel, the pressure of family expectations, and the pressure of trying to fit in. For me, it hit hard at my first real job. Everyone seemed to just know things, and I just kept nodding as if I also understood. If you ever sat in a meeting and aggressively taken notes even though you have no idea what's going on, yeah, same. I had to learn how to reframe my thinking when it comes to imposter syndrome. The reality is I do belong here and I deserve to take up space. I'm capable of learning new things and adapting. And it's okay if I'm not perfect because no one is. I will not let the corporate world take away from my identity more than my upbringing already has. Part of navigating adulthood, at least for me and how I was raised, is facing the reality that my job is not who I am. Corporate America has its own culture. And what I bring to the table, my unique experiences and my efforts are enough, as are yours. And speaking of the reality of facing things, let's talk about the social demands of adulthood. Job interviews, networking, calling customer service, and now put being introverted on top of that. I know people who would literally rather fight a bear than make a phone call. I thank my job in college for making me comfortable talking on the phone because I'm sure I would be one of those people. But seriously, I wish someone taught me that college was really the time for networking. Internships matter, and making those connections with professors and people in your field can literally make such a difference. I wish that some of us had the privilege or that someone taught us that exploring our interests and really diving into them could make such a difference in shaping us. I said paying bills was a scam, but seriously, networking has to be one of the biggest things that I wasn't prepared for. Now, I'm sure throughout this conversation, you've come to realize that adulthood is weird and none of us actually know what we're doing. But here's what I have learned in the process. Budgeting isn't about deprivation, it's about priorities. You don't have to cut out all joy, but maybe $100 on candles every month is not the move. I'm looking at myself when I say this. Imposter syndrome is a liar. You're more capable than you think, and everyone is also just figuring it out. And socializing is a skill, which means you can get better at it. Small talk won't always feel awkward, and that's something that I'm practicing all the time. So if you're listening to this and thinking, wow, I thought I was the only one, you're not. We're all fumbling through adulthood, hoping that no one notices, and honestly, that's okay. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend, because let's be real, community makes all of this a little less chaotic. And if you have any real world lessons you learned the hard way, email me at stories@homebodiespod.com. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Until next time, take a deep breath, do your best, and remember, you're doing better than you think.